Hello students and welcome to another video of IELTS with Coach Brad. I am of course Coach Brad, and if you have clicked on this video, it means that you would like to try a practice IELTS speaking test. That means less of me talking and more of you talking. Before we start, I'll just give you some instructions about how the test is going to work. You will not be able to see the questions for part 1 and part 3 of the speaking test. Of course, you will need the question card for part 2 of the speaking test. You are going to need to pause the video after each question. I will leave 5 seconds of silence, but you will need to restart the video after you have finished answering your questions. You will not need to do this for part 2 of the speaking test. The total time for this test should be between 11 and 14 minutes. There is also a list of all the questions that you will do in this test at the end of the video. So, let's begin! Can you start by telling me your first name? And what do you do? Could you please describe your hometown? What do you like doing in your free time? Now, I would like to talk about smartphones. When was the last time you got a new smartphone? And which apps do you enjoy using the most? Have you ever lost or damaged your smartphone? Do you prefer to call or text your friends, and why? Which apps do you enjoy using most, and why? Now, I would like to talk about cooking. Firstly, who does most of the cooking in your family? And what type of food does your family usually eat? Did you take cooking classes at school? Do you prefer cooking or buying food at a restaurant? That is the end of part 1 of the speaking test. We are now going to start part 2 of the speaking test. I am going to show you a question card which asks you to describe a time you visited a beautiful natural environment. You now have 60 seconds to read the card and prepare some notes. You should aim to speak for between 1 and 2 minutes. You don't need to pause the video for part 2 of the speaking test. Your time to prepare some notes starts now. Can you now please begin? Thank you very much. That is the end of part 2 of the speaking test. We will now move on to part 3 of the IELTS speaking test, and I want to continue talking about the environment. Firstly, do you feel that people should be required to pay money when they want to visit a natural area? Next, what could be done to ensure that the natural environment is protected for future generations? How can human behaviour negatively impact native wildlife? Now I want to focus on air pollution. Do you agree that a certain amount of air pollution is unavoidable? Do people in your country consider air pollution to be a major problem? Could you recommend some effective strategies for governments and businesses to reduce the amount of pollution that is emitted into the air? That is the end of speaking part 3, and as a result, the end of the speaking test. I will leave the question list at the end of the video if you would like to review the questions again, but just remember, practice, practice, practice. And I'll see you next time.